About suffering, they were never wrong, the old masters. How well they understood its human position, how it takes place while someone else is eating or opening a window or just walking dully along. How, when the aged are reverently, passionately waiting for the miraculous birth, there always must be children who did not specially want it to happen, skating on a pond at the edge of the wood. They never forgot that even the dreadful martyrdom must run its course anyhow in a corner, some untidy spot where the dogs go on with their doggy life and the torturer's horse scratches its innocent behind on a tree. In Bruegel's Icarus, for instance, how everything turns away quite leisurely from the disaster. The ploughman may have heard the splash, the forsaken cry, but for him it was not an important failure. The sun shone as it had to on the white legs disappearing into the green water, and the expensive, delicate ship that must have seen something amazing, a boy falling out of the sky, had somewhere to get to and sailed calmly on.
The poem begins with the speaker stating that the old masters who were responsible for the art he was looking at knew struggle well. Through their paintings, they were able to portray suffering in a way that most people never see it. It goes on in the background while others sit, eat, and go about their normal lives. He continues on to say that suffering can take many forms and even revolve around the same event, just as the birth of a child. In the final lines of the first stanza, the speaker mentions martyrs and how their sacrifice is never properly appreciated. It fades into the background and is overtaken by the mundane world. In the second stanza, he refers directly to a piece of art, Landscape with the Fall of Icarus. In this work, one can observe Icarus falling into the sea in the bottom right-hand corner. In the foreground, there are figures ploughing the land and preparing to sail. No one notices the boys suffering, or if they do, they make no effort to help. Their lives take precedence over another struggle. The next phase, which is the longest of the poem at 14 lines, lists out the different activities one might be engaging in while another is suffering unspeakably. People will be eating or opening a window or just walking dully along. Through this long line, the speaker is hoping to convey the mundanity which accompanies suffering in everyday life. The human experience is made up of equal parts boredom, joy, and horror. In the next part of the stanza, the speaker goes into the conflicting emotions which exist around one event, such as the birth of a child. There are those who feel it is miraculous. Then there are the children who do not specially want it to happen. They are not looking forward to the birth of another sibling. The final lines of the first stanza describe the speaker's outlook on the importance of suffering and how it is or is not remembered. For a moment, one sacrifice might be remembered, but before long it fades into history. It runs its course. It will waste away in a corner where more mundane happenings have taken precedence. A dog living its life and a horse scratching its innocent behind. The second stanza of Musée des Beaux-Arts, which contains 8 lines, speaks of the painting Landscape with the Fall of Icarus, which was at the time of the poem's composition thought to be by Peter Bruegel the Elder. Today it is considered to be a copy of lost work. In the second stanza, the reader will encounter the technique of ekphrasis. This refers to a vivid verbal description of a piece of art. It comes from the Greek for the description of a piece of art created as a rhetorical exercise. The speaker makes it clear from the first line of the second stanza which works he is speaking of. It is important to his narrative that the reader has a full understanding of what he was looking out for. The painting is utilized as an example of how suffering can be occurring quite close by and be far beyond what anyone sees. In the painting, there are a number of different figures, all of whom turn away quite leisurely from the disaster. The disaster which the speaker is describing is that of Icarus falling from the sky into the ocean. A splash, a pair of white legs, can be seen in the water in the bottom right-hand corner of the immediate scene. There might be someone in the scene who heard the splash or the cry, such as the ploughman, but he does not react if that is the case. He continues his work, that being the most important part of his life. In the second half of the stanza, the speaker describes how the sun shines on all parts of the scene equally. It warms the sea, the ploughman and the white legs, which have just recently disappeared into the green water. This paints a picture of the world being without mercy or sympathy. There is no change, even momentarily, in the state of the landscape. The final lines of Musée des Beaux-Arts describe the delicate ship which can be seen in the green water of the painting. The speaker thinks that it certainly shows something, such as a boy falling into the ocean, but chose to do nothing about it. There is a something of greater importance to the sailors. Somewhere they are more interested in going than to investigate a splash. Everyone is calm, carrying on with their lives as if nothing happened.